Chosen one, not all the eyes that watch you celebrate your existence. Some eyes, covered by a veil of envy and darkness, cannot bear the brightness that you carry. They are evil eyes, the evil eyes that silently cast curses, wishing that your light be extinguished, that your peace be stolen, and that your journey be interrupted. They watch from afar and pretend to be on your side. They smile, applaud your victories, and appear happy for your achievements. But behind the smile, they hide dark intentions. They study your steps, analyze your victories, only to find out where to attack. You have become the target of spiritual wars, not because you did anything wrong, but because your light reveals what was hidden. The very fact that you exist, that you remain true to your purpose and walk with integrity, transforms the environment around you. Your presence makes those who dwell in the shadows feel exposed, uncomfortable, vulnerable. This is why the evil eyes rise up. This is why curses of war and conflict are cast, not to teach you something you don't already know, but because your light unmasks what many want to hide, even from themselves. Chosen one, in this video, you will understand how the evil eye tries to plant wars around you, how false allies act as informants of the darkness, and why, in the end, every attack launched against you turns into a blessing in disguise. Because every battle you face carries a greater purpose. But before continuing, I have a special request. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss anything from being extraordinary. And also, write the number 757 in the comments right now to declare to the universe that your connection with the divine is stronger than any war launched. Because today, you will see clearly. The eyes that curse you are blind to the Supreme who fights for you. The moment the evil eyes fixate on you, chosen one, they begin plotting in the shadows. These eyes do not simply observe, they study, they calculate, they seek the cracks where they might plant seeds of conflict and chaos. They are not satisfied to watch you rise. They want to know what fuels your joy, where your victories are born, so they can poison those very sources. But what they fail to see is that your victories were not built on human effort alone. The Supreme has been the architect of your path. Every step you take, every door that opens for you, is a manifestation of divine orchestration. And this is what frustrates the eyes of darkness the most, that they cannot touch what God has sealed. These false allies and hidden enemies disguise their envy with applause. They smile, they nod, they act as if they celebrate you, but their hearts burn with bitterness. Behind closed doors, they speak curses over your name, hoping their words will stir up storms in your life. They send out malice like arrows, hoping to pierce your peace, your focus, your purpose. But here is what they don't understand. Those arrows cannot penetrate a soul guarded by the Supreme. They aim for your mind, hoping to imprison it with confusion and fear. But all they do is expose the emptiness within themselves, because darkness can never truly conquer light. Every curse of war they send is designed to distract you from your mission. They want your mind to become a battlefield, overrun by anxiety, doubt, and exhaustion. They want to see you stumble, to watch your focus waver, to hear you question your worth. But the Supreme uses even this. He transforms the curses into fuel. The very battles meant to break you become the fires that refine you. Where they expected to see you fall, they witness you rise with new strength, new wisdom, new clarity. The war they send to destroy you becomes the war that crowns you. When these enemies of light plan their attacks, they believe they are battling flesh and blood. They believe they are targeting a human being. What they fail to realize is that their war is against the Supreme himself, and no man, no woman, no force of darkness has ever won a war against the Most High. This is the blindness of the evil eye. It gazes upon you, but it cannot see the divine shield that surrounds you. It plans and plots, but it cannot outmaneuver the strategy of heaven. The Supreme sees their schemes before they are even conceived. He dismantles their traps before you even know they exist. There is power in the battles you have faced, chosen one, because in every battle, you have been given the opportunity to see just how close the Supreme stands beside you. You have been shown that no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how loud the conflict, you are never fighting alone. The curses of war and conflict that were sent your way have only served to deepen your connection with the divine. They have taught you that your light is not fragile, it is indestructible, because it is not yours alone. It is the light of the Supreme, shining through you. The more they curse, the stronger you become. The more war they send, the greater your victories. What they intended for your destruction becomes the very instrument of your elevation. You were never meant to be crushed by their attacks. You were meant to be refined, like the muscat grape that is pressed and crushed, only to become a fine, sweet wine. You are transformed by the pressure. And when the battle ends, you are not who you were at the beginning. You are stronger, wiser, and more radiant. You are the living proof that no curse can stop what God has ordained. The evil eyes believe they can create chaos that will consume you, but they forget one truth. The Supreme is the author of your peace, and His peace is not fragile. It does not crumble under attack. Instead, it expands. The more they try to steal it, the more it floods your life. And so, every war they send becomes a blessing in disguise. What they designed to trap you only teaches you how to walk in greater freedom. What they meant for harm becomes the soil in which your destiny takes deeper root. The traps they set for you, chosen one, are built from their own shadows. They think they are building weapons, but what they construct are cages for themselves, because every plan they form in darkness becomes the snare that tightens around them. They dig pits for your fall, yet they are the ones who will stumble into them. The Supreme allows their plots to go so far, only to let them see their own defeat. He lets them taste the bitterness of the evil they tried to serve, and while they are consumed by the chaos they summoned, you rise untouched, guided by the unseen hand of God. There is something sacred about how the Supreme allows you to move through battles. You are not rushed. You are not reckless. You move with divine precision, stepping only where light leads. That is why their curses cannot find you, because you do not move by the map of man, but by the design of heaven. Every step you take is covered by grace, and every direction you choose is lit by divine wisdom. The war around you may rage, but within, you remain anchored. That is the gift the Supreme gives His chosen, peace that defies the storm. They curse your focus because it is the source of your power. They try to scatter your mind, hoping to break the unity between your spirit and your mission. But what they cannot break is the bond between you and the Supreme. And so, their curses dissolve like smoke. Their plans fall apart before they can take root. Because where the Supreme has planted purpose, no hand of darkness can uproot it. The more they try to divide you from your destiny, the more tightly you are woven into it. Their war becomes the weaving of your crown. What they don't see, what their blindness keeps them from understanding, is that your battles are sacred spaces. These are not moments of defeat. They are altars where you meet God more deeply. Every conflict, every attack, every curse becomes another place where the Supreme reveals His power. You do not walk into battle alone. You walk in with the armies of heaven, and no curse, no weapon, no plot can stand against that force. This is the truth the evil eyes refuse to see, that your battle is not theirs to win. It belongs to the Supreme. When they send conflict, hoping to drown you, they only teach you how to breathe underwater. When they set fire to your name, hoping to burn your purpose, they only refine you in the flames. You are not destroyed by what they send. You are transformed. The Supreme takes every attempt they make and turns it into your preparation. And so, the curses of war they launch become the very storms that carry you higher. What they meant for your ruin becomes the path to your reign. Chosen one, you were never meant to be ordinary. And that is why the battles come. The evil eyes see in you what they fear in themselves, the reflection of divine power, the image of purpose fulfilled, the light that exposes every hidden thing. Their curses are the cries of those who cannot bear to see truth shine. But no matter how loud their curses, no matter how fierce their attacks, they cannot silence the light the Supreme has placed within you. That light was born for war, not to be extinguished, but to conquer. Every time they rise against you, they forget who commands the field. They see you and think they see their opponent, but the Supreme is the one who fights through you, for you, and ahead of you. The victory was written before the battle began, and the more they try to rewrite the ending, the more clearly the original story shines, that the Chosen One will stand, that the light will not be overcome, and that no curse can change what God has declared finished. They thought the battle would break you, Chosen One. They thought that if they sent enough curses, stirred enough conflict, and surrounded you with enough noise, your spirit would crumble under the weight. But what they could not calculate, what their eyes were too blind to see, is that the Supreme crafted you to rise in war. The battle does not break you, it builds you. The curses do not crush you, they crown you. The conflict does not destroy your peace, it deepens it. Every attack they send only polishes the armor God placed on you long before the battle began. And with each strike, you shine brighter, stronger, more untouchable in the light of the Most High. Their greatest error is believing that they can control the outcome of the war. They imagine that by sending enough darkness your way, they can rewrite your destiny. But the Supreme wrote your story in ink that no man can erase, no curse can smear, no conflict can alter. Your victories are not determined by the size of the battle, but by the power of the God who stands with you. And in that power, every curse sent against you loses its strength before it can even reach your spirit. They send war thinking it will shift your course, but all it does is strengthen your path and clarify your vision. You are not lost in their chaos. You are led by divine order. They send curses of war to make you doubt yourself, hoping that if they can shake your confidence, they can weaken your power. But what they fail to understand is that your confidence was never rooted in the world. Your confidence is rooted in the Supreme, and that foundation cannot be shaken by human hands or dark intentions. Every attempt to undermine you only reminds you where your true strength comes from. And as you remember, you grow unshakable. Their curses try to chain you, but instead, they remind you that your spirit was born free, and what God has set free, no man can bind. In the midst of their warfare, Chosen One, you become a mirror they cannot bear to face. Your light reveals what they wish to hide, their own brokenness, their own distance from the Supreme, their own fear of the truth. And so, they send more conflict, hoping to dim the reflection. But light does not fade because darkness wishes it so. The more they curse, the more their own shadows are exposed. The more they fight against you, the more their own inner war consumes them. And through it all, the Supreme keeps you steady, untouched by the chaos they tried to unleash. Every battle you face is a classroom of the divine. Each curse of war sent your way becomes another lesson in the strength, wisdom, and resilience that the Supreme planted in you. And as you walk through the fire of their conflict, you discover gifts you didn't know you carried. You find wells of peace that no storm can drain. You hear the voice of God more clearly in the roar of the fight than in the silence of the ordinary. What they sent to destroy you becomes what God uses to reveal you, to yourself and to the world. There is a divine reversal in every war they send. They plan destruction. God plans destiny. They send confusion. God brings clarity. They launch curses. God pours blessings. And the chosen one walks through it all, not because of human strength, but because the Supreme walks within. This is the secret they do not know, the truth they refuse to see, that no matter how fierce the battle, it is never between you and them. The war is between their darkness and the light of God, and in that war, light has already won. So let them send the curses. Let them plot the wars. Let them gather their shadows and hurl them at you. For every curse sent is another opportunity for God's glory to be revealed. Every conflict stirred is another stage for your victory to be displayed. You are not the victim of their battles. You are the vessel of God's triumph. And what they meant for harm will forever be transformed into the testimony of how the Supreme defended His own, and how no evil eye, no curse, no war could stop what was ordained in heaven. They believed that by sending conflict your way, they could exhaust your spirit, that if they filled your path with enough obstacles, you would eventually surrender your light and accept defeat. But what they never understood is that the Chosen One does not draw power from ease or comfort. You were designed to thrive in adversity, to rise stronger in the presence of opposition. The more storms they send, the deeper your roots go into divine strength. The more chaos they create, the clearer your purpose becomes. They think they are sending destruction, but the Supreme uses it all to refine and elevate you. Your endurance is not human, it is divine, sustained by a power that no conflict can touch. Their curses were meant to isolate you, to cut you off from your sense of worth and belonging. They hoped you would feel abandoned, as if no one stood with you in the battle. But what they failed to account for is the presence of the Supreme that surrounds you like a fortress. You were never alone, not for a single moment. Every curse they sent only pushed you closer to God. Every betrayal only deepened your trust in the one who never fails. They tried to sever your ties to strength, but instead, they wove you more tightly into the fabric of divine protection. And so, their curses became the cords that tied you to victory. As they watched you walk through the wars they created, they waited for you to stumble, to fall, to collapse under the weight of it all. But what unfolded before their eyes was something they never expected. Instead of seeing you break, they saw you transform. The conflict they designed to crush you became the fire that forged you. And while they grew weaker in their own darkness, you grew stronger in the light of the Supreme. What was meant to be your ending became your awakening. What they believed would be your downfall became the very soil in which your future was planted. They try to wage war against your mind because they know the power of a focused spirit. They send confusion, division, and doubt like weapons, hoping to scatter your thoughts and steal your peace. But your mind is not an open field for their warfare. It is a sanctuary guarded by the Supreme. And in that sanctuary, their weapons dissolve before they can take shape. Every attack aimed at your focus only teaches you to sharpen it more. Every attempt to cloud your vision only clears your sight further. They do not understand that the mind of a chosen one is lit by a flame that no darkness can snuff out. The evil eyes that fixate on you are blinded by their own bitterness. They gaze upon your light and see it as a threat, not realizing that your light was never meant to harm. It was meant to heal. But their hearts are so consumed by envy and resentment that they cannot receive what your presence offers. And so, they fight against the very thing that could set them free. The Supreme allows them to wage their battles, not to destroy you, but to show them the futility of fighting against divine purpose. Every curse they send is an opportunity for them to witness the unstoppable force of God's will in your life. Every war they stir up against you exposes their own weakness. They hoped to see you shaken, but instead, they tremble at your resilience. They hoped to see you silenced, but instead, they hear the sound of your testimony growing louder. The Supreme turns their curses into your crown, their conflict into your confirmation. You are proof that no amount of darkness can overcome a soul set on fire by divine light. And as you continue to stand, their own shadows close in around them. Their battles become the evidence of their defeat, while your peace becomes the sign of your triumph. What they do not see, chosen one, is that their wars serve a higher purpose. Each conflict, each curse, each betrayal, each storm, all of it has been used by the Supreme to build the foundation of your destiny. The very hands that tried to tear you down have unknowingly helped raise you up. The very tongues that spoke against you have declared your strength without meaning to. And the very eyes that glared with hatred have witnessed the unstoppable hand of God at work in your life. In the end, it is not their curses that define your path. It is the blessing of the Supreme that carries you forward. They thought that surrounding you with conflict would force you into retreat, that the noise of their wars would drown out the sound of your calling. But what they did not realize is that your calling echoes louder than any storm they could create. The Supreme speaks through the chaos, and his voice cuts through the noise like a blade of light through the darkest night. Every attempt they made to distract you only trained your ear to hear God more clearly. Every war they sent only made you lean closer to the divine, listening for instruction, moving with purpose. They tried to bury your mission beneath conflict, but instead, they uncovered its power. They watched as you navigated the fires they set, expecting the flames to consume you. But you walked through those fires with a grace that left them speechless. Because the Supreme did not send you into battle unprepared, you were clothed in a protection that no flame could touch, no curse could burn, no conflict could weaken. And as the fires raged, instead of seeing you reduced to ash, they saw you emerge refined, purified, stronger than before. They sent the fire for your destruction. God used it for your elevation. And in that elevation, you became untouchable by the very forces that tried to destroy you. They aimed their curses at your heart, hoping to poison your joy, to turn your love into bitterness, to make you a reflection of their own darkness. But the Supreme guarded your heart with his own hands. Every dart of hatred they hurled at you fell harmless at his feet. And instead of your heart growing hard, it grew larger. Instead of your love turning cold, it burned brighter. You did not become like them. You became more like him. And in that transformation, every curse they sent only highlighted the difference between your path and theirs, between light that heals and darkness that destroys itself. They tried to make your name a battlefield. They spoke lies, spread rumors, cast shadows over your character, hoping the weight of false words would crush your spirit. But what they forgot is that names written in the book of destiny cannot be erased by human tongues. The Supreme sealed your identity before you were born. And no slander, no gossip, no evil eye can change what God has declared over your life. Their words fell to the ground, empty and powerless, while your name rose higher, carried by the truth that no darkness could deny. Their attempt to destroy your reputation only revealed the purity of your calling. The Supreme allows battles not to break you, but to reveal what he placed inside you. And what they meant for harm, he uses to unveil your hidden strength. The war they sent to wear you down became the stage where God displayed his power through you. They watched as you stood, when by all logic you should have fallen. They watched as you thrived, when the weight of their curses should have buried you. And in their confusion, They saw what they refused to believe, that no weapon formed against the Chosen One can prosper when the Supreme fights the battle. Their greatest frustration is realizing that their attacks only serve to magnify your light. The more they push against you, the more unshakable you become. The more they curse, the more blessed you are. The more they try to block your path, the more the Supreme opens doors they could never close. What they designed to limit you becomes the proof of your limitless purpose. And every effort to bring you down becomes another brick in the foundation of your legacy. They are building the evidence of God's faithfulness with their own hands, blind to the truth of what they are doing. So let them wage their wars. Let them speak their curses. Let them glare with eyes full of envy and hatred. Because the Supreme turns every one of their efforts into another chapter of your testimony. The battlefield they created becomes holy ground where God's glory is revealed. And you, Chosen One, walk through it all not as a victim of their darkness, but as a living witness of divine victory. Their curses have no power where God's blessing rests. Their wars cannot touch what was destined in heaven, and in the end, all they will see is what they tried so hard to deny, that you were always protected, always chosen, always crowned by the Supreme. The eyes that watched you with hatred will one day have to acknowledge the truth they tried to deny. They will see that every curse they sent only served to increase your favor. They will witness the Supreme's hand lifting you higher, even as they plotted to bring you down. And in that moment, their own darkness will become their prison, for they will realize that the battle they fought against you was never truly against flesh and blood. It was a war they waged against God Himself, and no man, no force, no evil eye has ever won that war, nor will they ever. You are living proof of that eternal truth. So remember this, Chosen One. The wars they send will never determine your worth. The curses they speak will never define your future. The evil eyes they glare will never dim your light. For the Supreme has gone before you, walks beside you, and guards your path. And in every battle, you are not merely surviving, you are conquering. Their wars have crowned you, their curses have confirmed you, and their hatred has only highlighted the unstoppable force of God's favor on your life. This is your victory. This is your testimony. And no war they send can ever change what heaven has already declared finished. If you felt that this message spoke to your soul, write in the comments, "The Supreme always wins." This way, you declare to the universe that you are on the right side of the battle. Take this moment to like this message so that it reaches more chosen ones. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because the next video will raise your consciousness even further. I want to thank each soul who has supported this mission through Buy Me a Coffee. Your generosity is not only keeping this message alive, but also helping it to expand. If you also feel the call to support this movement, the link is right there in the pinned comment. Now, before you go, watch the next video that is on your screen right now, or binge watch the playlist. Feed your spirit until there is no room for doubt. The prophecy is alive. The prophecy is you. See you later, and may God bless you.